Greetings, guys. Welcome to the Wealth for Real YouTube channel. I'm your host, Christopher Anastasio. It is Monday, July 1st, 2024. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about something called the Corporate Transparency Act / beneficial ownership information reporting requirement that anybody who falls into the proper criteria, which we'll get into in a second, is going to be affected by this year with regard to entities that you own or that you're a part of. Let me just start by saying, guys, I just get some of the editorial out of the way. This is another layer of bureaucratic process dumped on top of mostly small business owners who would naturally not be tracking something like this. This kind of law that got passed, this kind of requirement that they have to fulfill or face a certain punishment for not doing so. This is the kind of thing that a very large company, even a medium-sized company, probably already has an apparatus in place that either tracks these things or is made aware of these things by their legal department or their lawyers or their accountants or whatever. This law, and no matter what they say about this not being the case, this law falls most heavily onto small business owners, single individuals who are either running their own LLC or have an S corp, something to that effect, where they're the sole employee or there's just one or two or five of them or something like that. But basically, guys, and I say all that because that's why I wanted to make this video. This was something that I came to realize completely accidentally. Somebody who owns an entity, doesn't even live in the same state as me, but owns an entity, asked me if it was an actual requirement. I started to do some research on it. I started to dig some things up. Around that time, I also got an email from a subscription that I have with Wealth Factory. If you guys have heard of them. Wealth Factory happened to send me their email newsletter and said, hey, you need to be aware of this law and this requirement. And I was like, okay, never heard of it before. Let me look into it even deeper. And that's when it all kind of came together. And I realized this was something that actually heavily affected me. And I will explain why here in a moment. So I just wanted to get this word out to you guys. If you guys haven't heard about the Corporate Transparency Act and beneficial ownership information reporting, that's what this video is supposed to accomplish. So this law, guys, the CTA, Corporate Transparency Act, supposedly is supposed to be defeating things like financial fraud or foreign infiltration of entities, so that they can do evil or whatever the case may be. I honestly don't even know the actual language of the law. I simply know what it's asking me to do. And that is just a matter of me having to do this as quickly as possible, get through this as quickly as possible, and move on. If you guys want to read the law or read about the law more directly, you can find that somewhere else on the web. But this video is mainly just to show you guys, alert you to the requirement and then show you what you need to do about it. So I'm starting out here, guys, on the FinCEN website, and that's where this gets executed. Okay, this is on the FinCEN website. Right now, that kind of gives you some background information you guys can look into. Many companies require to report FinCEN, begin accepting reports January 1st, 2024. Shows you how to file, how to qualify for an exemption, how to get FinCEN ID, frequently asked questions, so on and so forth. So basically, guys, this whole thing is saying if you are 90% owner, or excuse me, if you own 25% or more of an entity, with some exceptions, you have to report that you have that beneficial ownership of that entity, okay? And you're reporting it by identifying yourself, uploading supporting documentation as to who you are, like for example, a passport photo. You're putting in bits of detail like the EIN number for the business, the name of the business, the address of the business, your address, basic things that are not terribly difficult to divine. But if you own 25% or more, these are things that you have to. This is something that you have to file and do so in the proper time frame, or you start facing very steep penalties. I believe the penalties start at $500 a day, but they're adjusted for inflation. So I think it's actually closer to $600 a day now from when the law was passed. So $600 a day, almost thereabouts, up to $10,000 per entity and potential jail time. My guess, guys, is that the jail time is if there's really egregious attempts to skirt this law. My guess is that the run-of-the-mill penalty is going to be something financially oriented, but don't quote me on that. So again, guys, this is so that the government can harvest this information and make sure that people who own at least 25% of an entity are identifying themselves and showing that they're a U.S. citizen or they have the proper documentation in the form of a passport and so forth. So this website here, guys, and I will post all this stuff on the Facebook page, is going to give you some background on what to do. The timing here that I also should mention before we look at how you'll go about doing this is if the entity was created prior to 2024. Okay, so if you set up your entity from December 31st, 2023 or earlier, then you have the entire year this year to file this. From anywhere from January 1st to December 31st of 24 is your filing window for entities prior to 24. If you set up an entity in 2024, you have 90 days. So if you set up an entity on 1 March 2024, you have till 1 June of 2024 to file that BOI report or beneficial ownership information report. 90 days. So you'd have all of March, April, May, and the report would be due on or about 1 June. Okay, so that's kind of a timing thing, guys, that you need to be aware of. And it can really catch somebody off guard. I mean, if you've had the entities for a while before 2024, you have the entire year. Well, now you've got about half a year left. So there's plenty of time to do it because it doesn't take long. But if you set up the entity in this year, you need to turn around and do it as fast as you can because you don't want to let that 90-day window slip by. Okay, guys, so check this website out. Again, I'll post it on the Facebook page if you want some background info. Here's the website that I will also post on the Facebook page where you actually begin the process of doing the BOI e-filing. And you just click over here to get started. You're going to have 2 methods. There's a PDF upload option and an online one. I've only done it the online way. It was super easy to do it the online way. And to be honest with you, I learned that the preferential way to do it is the online way from the next thing I'm going to show you, this YouTube video that I watched that's super, super helpful. I will also post that on the Facebook page after this video goes up. But I just wanted to kind of show you guys, these are the 2 options you'd pick from. You go here to prepare and submit a BOI report, and then you're going to start filling out fields. I'm not going to go through this right now, but you'll start clicking like these radio buttons, and just moving through the process. If you have everything laid out in front of you, you can do one of these in less than 10 minutes. If you have to go hunt for it, if you got to go scan your passport, scan your ID, all kinds of stuff like that, it's going to take a little bit longer, obviously. But if everything is ready to go, got your EIN, got your documentation, a photo of that, and so forth, you can do one of these in about 10 minutes or so. Okay, now to the YouTube video, which, like I said, I will post from the Level Up Legal YouTube channel. There might be better videos than this out there. And I can't say this video, by the way, covers every possibility. It really just covered the possibility, if I remember correctly, of if you already have an entity from prior to 2024. But it doesn't change that much. So I think whether you do it for an entity in 2024 or prior to 2024, you're going to generally follow the steps that this lady walks you through. And it was just, I like this video because it was short. It's like 6 minutes or so. It's very cleanly laid out. It just goes through the exact steps you need to do. There isn't a whole lot of preamble or anything like that, but it's just enough to kind of get you where you need to be. Again, there could be better videos in this one, but I'm going to post this one because it's the one that I've used. Okay, guys, so in summary, check out this website, learn about beneficial ownership information reporting, if you want to, the background to it, all the machinations that went into the passing of this law and why it affects you or how it may affect you. And then if it does apply to you, if you meet the criteria, then you can use this website to actually get started. This is the BOE e-filing website that I just showed you. Let me just back up a little bit. It's going to look like this. Okay, you're going to start right here in the upper right, and then you can use this YouTube video to kind of walk you through or give you some education on how to go about doing this. Okay, guys. I know I kind of meandered a little bit at the beginning. Quite frankly, it's because I didn't take the time to learn a whole lot about this law. I was kind of taken aback by it. I had to regroup a little bit, realizing that I have scores of entities that I need to report, not necessarily for myself, but for an individual that I work closely with, who I am in those entities with, although I have less than 20% of those. So I don't have to report myself in those entities, but I have to report on behalf of the other individual. And there's like almost 100 of them. So for me, this was something that I had to quickly get up to speed on and just start implementing. You probably will find a lot of videos out there that do a much better job, including this one, of giving you that sort of summary preamble as to what this thing is, this law, how it came about, why it came about, that sort of thing. But what I really wanted to show you guys here are the tools that you're going to use to get this thing accomplished. So again, I wouldn't watch this video and just dive in and start clicking buttons and reporting things. I think step one is to just be absolutely sure it applies to you, that you meet the criteria that are laid out for being a beneficial owner of an entity. And I think once you've cleared that bar, then you can just kind of jump in and do what I've showed you here. Hope you guys have a great rest of this Monday. We'll probably talk more about this at some point, because I feel like even though I've done some of the initial stuff needed to get over the bar here, there's going to be other stuff that there's going to be other things that come up, whether I have to fix a reporting, a report that I've already sent in, or whether there's, I thought I heard somebody say that you have to quarterly check in or something, or maybe biannually to check in and tell the FinCEN that nothing's changed. I don't know that for sure yet, guys. I haven't crossed that bridge yet, but I feel like there's going to be more to follow on this that I'll post some more videos on. So thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great Monday night. Until next time, we'll talk to you guys soon.